The splinter from the workbench dug into my shoulder blade as Tess shoved me backward. The pain was sharp, but not as sharp as the laughter that followed. "Sign it, Adelaide," Vera hissed, slapping a crumpled document onto the dusty wood beside my head. Her perfume, something expensive and floral, clashed with the smell of hay and motor oil. "You're 17. You don't know anything about running an estate. The Ironwood land grant belongs to people who can actually handle it." I looked at the paper. At the top, in bold letters, it read, "Deed of Renunciation." Below that, a line waited for my signature. Tess leaned in close, her designer boots clicking on the concrete floor. She was wearing white, in a barn. That told you everything you needed to know about how long she'd been gone. "Look at you," she said, wrinkling her nose. "You smell like diesel and cow manure. Do you really think grandfather wanted you to inherit millions? You were just the free labor. 3 years. 3 years since my father died and Vera married into our family. 3 years since she and Tess packed their bags and moved to the city, leaving me alone with grandfather Silas on the Ironwood ranch. 3 years of waking up at 5 in the morning to feed cattle, repair miles of barbed wire fence, and operate machinery that could kill you if you made one wrong move. 3 years of holding grandfather's hand while he slowly forgot my name. But I never forgot why I stayed. Silas raised me after my dad passed. He taught me how to fix a tractor engine, how to read the weather in the clouds, and how to stand firm when the ground shifted under your feet. He died 2 weeks ago. The funeral was small. Vera and Tess showed up in black dresses that cost more than a month of cattle feed. They didn't cry. They didn't even stay for the reception. They came back today because the will was being read. And now they were in my barn, blocking the door, demanding I sign away everything. "I'm not signing," I said quietly. Vera's face turned the color of a ripe tomato. "Excuse me?" I said no. Tess grabbed my wrist, her nails digging in. "You don't have a choice. We're family. The Ironwood grant is worth at least $6 million. You think you can manage that? You can barely manage your hair." I yanked my hand free. "Get out of my barn." "Your barn?" Vera laughed, a cold sound that echoed off the metal roof. "Sweetheart, you don't own anything yet. And if you don't sign this paper, I'll make sure you never do." That's when I heard the footsteps. A man in a gray suit appeared in the doorway, carrying a leather briefcase. He was tall, thin, and looked completely out of place among the feed sacks and rusted tools. "Mrs. Vera Kane?" he said. His voice was calm but firm. Vera spun around. "Who are you?" "My name is Howard Pike. I'm the county attorney assigned to the Ironwood estate." He glanced at me, then at the paper on the workbench. "I see you've started the proceedings without me." "We're just helping Adelaide understand her options," Vera said smoothly, her tone shifting to something sweet and fake. "This is all very overwhelming for a child." Howard's expression didn't change. "She's not a child. She turned 17 last month, which, according to the stipulations in the trust, makes her a legal adult for the purposes of this estate." "Trust?" I said. My heart was pounding. "What trust?" Howard opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. "That's why I'm here. There's been some confusion about the Ironwood fortune." "There's no confusion," Tess snapped. "The land grant has been in this family for generations. It's worth millions." Howard looked at her with something like pity. "Actually, Miss Kane, the Ironwood land grant is a myth." The barn went silent. Even the wind outside seemed to stop. "What?" Vera whispered. Howard stepped further into the barn, his shoes crunching on the straw-covered floor. He laid the folder on the workbench, right next to the paper Vera wanted me to sign. "Silas Ironwood died with $1,700 in his bank account," Howard said. "The land itself is worth maybe $200,000 if you sold it tomorrow. The legendary fortune everyone talks about? It never existed." Vera's face went pale. Tess looked like she'd been slapped. "But the estate," Vera stammered. "The lawyers said there were assets. Accounts. Investments." "There are," Howard said. He turned to me. "But they don't belong to the Ironwood name. They belong to Adelaide's father." I blinked. "My dad?" Howard nodded. "Your father, before he passed, secured 3 agricultural patents. New irrigation systems, drought-resistant seed technology, things like that. Over the last decade, those patents have generated significant revenue. He placed that money into a private trust for you." "How much?" I whispered. $4.2 million. The number hung in the air like smoke. I couldn't breathe. $4 million. My father had left me $4 million, and I'd spent 3 years thinking I had nothing. "That's impossible," Tess said. Her voice was shaking. "If there's that much money, why is Adelaide living like a farmhand?" Howard looked at her with cool eyes. "Because of the stewardship clause. The what? Vera demanded. Your husband was a smart man, Howard said. He knew that wealth without responsibility breeds entitlement. So he built a condition into the trust. The heir could only access the funds if they personally maintained the Ironwood Ranch for 3 consecutive years after his death. No hired help for the core operations. No extended absences. The heir had to prove they could work the land. He looked directly at me. Adelaide is the only person who met that requirement. She turned 17 last month. As of that date, the trust became hers in full. The land, the accounts, the patents, all of it. I felt dizzy. I own it? You own it. Vera made a choking sound. No, that's not, Silas promised me. He said the estate would take care of us. Silas believed in the myth, just like everyone else, Howard said. But the legal reality is clear. Adelaide fulfilled the terms. She is the sole beneficiary. Tess lunged forward and grabbed the folder, her hands shaking as she flipped through the pages. I watched her face change as she read. First disbelief, then panic, then rage. This is fraud, she hissed. Adelaide manipulated him. She isolated grandfather so she could steal everything. I was here, I said quietly. Where were you? You were supposed to be here, Tess shouted. You're the unwanted one. The charity case. We gave you a roof over your head, and this is how you repay us. You gave me nothing, I said, and for the first time in 3 years, my voice didn't shake. I earned everything. Vera stepped forward, her face twisted with desperation. Adelaide, sweetheart, listen to me. We're family. You don't need all that money. Let's share it. We can split it evenly. 50-50. 50-50? I repeated. Well, maybe 60-40, Vera said quickly. You've done so much work. You deserve the larger share. I looked at Howard. Do I have to give them anything? Not a cent, he said. You are under no legal or moral obligation. I turned back to Vera and Tess. They looked smaller now. Desperate. Ridiculous. Get off my property, I said. Mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. I picked up the deed of renunciation and tore it in half. The sound was satisfying, like cracking a whip. This ranch is mine. The house is mine. And as of right now, you're trespassing. We live here, Tess shrieked. No, I said. You lived here. Past tense. You left 3 years ago and came back when you thought there was money to take. But there's nothing for you. Not anymore. Howard cleared his throat. For the record, I've also been authorized to inform you that all accounts previously accessible to Vera Kane have been frozen. That includes the credit line at the feed store, the fuel account at the co-op, and the household expense card. Vera's face went from red to white. You froze my cards? They were never your cards, Howard said. They were estate accounts, temporarily maintained for operational purposes. Now that Adelaide has assumed full ownership, she has the right to manage all financial access. I didn't authorize this, Vera sputtered. You didn't need to, I said. I did. This morning. It was true. Howard had called me at dawn, explained everything, and asked if I wanted to make changes. I'd said yes before he finished the question. Tess looked at me like I was a stranger. You're really going to throw us out? After everything? After everything? I repeated. After you left me alone to bury my father's dream in this dirt? After you spent 3 years spending money in the city while I bled into this land? Yes, Tess, I'm throwing you out. I walked to the barn door and opened it wide. The afternoon sun poured in, turning the dust motes into gold. Outside, the fields stretched for miles, green and alive because I had kept them that way. You have until sundown, I said. Pack your clothes. Personal items only. Everything else stays. Where are we supposed to go? Vera whispered. I don't know, I said. Maybe the city you love so much. Maybe one of those fancy hotels you've been posting about online. I genuinely don't care. Tess tried one last time. Adelaide, please. We're family. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but pity. Family doesn't abandon each other. You taught me that by leaving. Now I'm teaching you what it costs. They left the barn in silence. I watched them walk toward the house, their expensive shoes kicking up dust with every step. Howard stood beside me, closing his briefcase. Are you all right? He asked. I think so, I said. It doesn't feel real yet. It will, he said. Give it time. By sunset, they were gone. I stood on the porch and watched their car disappear down the gravel road, taillights fading into the dusk. The ranch was quiet except for the wind moving through the cottonwood trees. I was 17 years old. I owned $4 million and 800 acres of land. I was the most powerful person in the valley, and nobody saw it coming. Not even me, but I'd earned it. Every blister, every early morning, Every moment I chose to stay when I could have left. I walked back into the house, my house, and locked the door behind me. The Ironwood Ranch had a new owner. And she wasn't going anywhere.